Hello, Aries. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. So, Aries, tonight we have the Six of Wands, which is all about victory. This is a time of celebration, of really, you've been working hard, you've been passionate about something. It's not just like hopes and dreams, and I hope this works out. Maybe, the universe will let it land here right in my lap, right? No. With the fire energy, this is all about creativity. This is all about innovation. It's all about resolve. Really taking these parts of yourself, the vitality, that stream of creative energy flowing through you. Really, you can think of like the Kundalini, right? Being activated all the way up the spinal cord, right? From the base up to the crown chakra there. And yes, and I feel like through this energy, there is not only kind of a sense of the return of passion, of interest, but also there is this knowing, a wisdom. The fire element, the wand element, it really runs us through the gauntlet. You might think, yeah, that would probably be more like the sword energy, and it is the sword energy as well, which is very much air and our mental happenings, right? But this is more about our emotions. This is about our creative, that place that we can tap into the unconscious, right? And this is also very much about the vehicle to create in general. So I feel like there is a illumination in your life right now. There is a freshness. And so let's go ahead. We're going to see how this kind of all goes together. Let me turn off the face of my watch. I'm always like super paranoid it's going to say the town I live in on there. And my husband is also a YouTuber. You probably know him. He's over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. His name is Paul. And I am the most paranoid, protect our family at all costs kind of lady. So I trip about it. Okay, so we're going to lift this up. We're going to take a look and see what these tea leaves want to tell us today. So we have that beautiful fire energy, that victorious energy. And we'll see what else is going on here. I also want to say thank you so much for deciding to click on this reading. It's always such a huge privilege and honor for me to be able to share these messages with you. To do this kind of work is really a dream come true. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed is we have the number 21. I'm just going to go back this way. We have 21 right here. Okay, 2-1. And then I'm going to spin it this way. And I'm sorry, I don't like to make anybody get motion sickness from the bowl spinning. But I have to. So right up in here, we have what looks like a blue jay. Okay, you can see the head right here, and here's that kind of point they have at the back of their head, and the body would be down in this area. So the blue jay is interesting to me. They're one of my favorite birds. Everywhere I've lived as an adult, I've had blue jays around, and they're just so smart. I mean, that's the big thing. They are in the family of like crows and ravens. I think they're called corvids. Is that how you say it? If I'm wrong, put it in the comments, because I mispronounce everything. But they are very intelligent. I used to feed at my last house. I don't feed the birds right now here because it's such an abundant area for like food for them. Naturally occurring sources of food, and I don't want to interrupt that. So the last house I lived in, it wasn't. It was in the middle of like a tiny little town, and so I fed the birds, and I had this couple of blue jays, and they would come every morning, and they would know when I got up. I would look out the windows and I could hear them talking to each other, and they would watch me in the windows from the trees. And when I went from one side of the house to the other, they would follow me to the back, and they would watch me through the windows. And they were such a glorious thing to watch, honestly. But here's what I also learned is that they can be very territorial. They can be very aggressive. So when I see this in the symbol, I know that we are dealing with somebody that's highly focused. They have razor sharp vision, okay? They see right through everything. But with this ability, they maybe have never developed or have lost their capacity for deep empathy. This is a person I feel that is maybe a little bit worn by the world, right? They've had some difficulties, as we all have. But for them, it's kind of made them harder, right? And it's made them maybe a little antisocial or misanthropic. I feel like this is somebody who maybe doesn't go out of their way to have problems with people, but they are pretty ruthless in their own needs. Like, they'll do what they got to do. They don't care if it hurts even like their own mom, you know, that kind of thing. So I feel like this is a person that has a lot of effect on you. I don't believe this is you, obviously, but I feel like it's somebody in your life that it's like they're bringing in this energy of just almost like, I mean, it kind of feels like psychopathy a little bit, but I also think that maybe it's just they're missing the nuance of dealing with people, of communicating, and how one, you know, should at least lean towards behaving with one another, right? These kind of like set or unspoken social understandings that we have. And this might be a person that either just really doesn't care for, you know, that kind of distraction, right? It's just getting in the way of what I need to do. Or maybe they have not, you know, really had an education in the ways of how we treat other people. I know it's hard to believe, but, you know, where we might meet somebody who we consider to be quite obnoxious or, you know, like they're not very thoughtful, they're only concerned with themselves, or maybe, you know, even seem like a narcissist or a what are they called? A sociopath, a psychopath, whatever. You know, I think that these things can be true, right? But often I think that we forget that people really do experience the world differently than we do. And not everybody behaves in the same way. We also don't all grow up with the same conditioning, right? Or the same access to education and, right, behavior. I don't even know what it would, like, shaping one's behavior, right? And so I don't know if it's exactly that, but I do feel like this kind of energy is really in conflict with how you would feel, who you would feel comfortable around, right? Because we know, Aries, you are, although maybe a little bit less involved with the larger collective, you have your own relationships that are really important. And I feel like most Aries people are very concerned with how the people they care for are treated, how they're living. You're a person that goes out of your way to make sure that people feel heard and seen and safe. And so when you have somebody who comes in that has this very kind of sharp personality, it can be really, I think, disruptive and off-putting. I feel like you don't feel comfortable around them, and maybe, you know, even, I don't know, maybe it even is kind of a degree of dislike, right? Like they make you feel uncomfortable because of their way of doing things or their behavior or their personality. And I think it's like even gotten to a point where this is not a person that you care to be around at all. I feel like you avoid them quite a bit. You go out of your way. Now we also have the number 114 right in here. And we have, it looks like, we have a Cancer person, we have a house. Here's the house, here's the crab. So I almost feel like in this next period of time, there will be a visit. I wonder if you are having company come and stay. I wonder if you have a close family member or a good friend that is a Cancer, because it does feel like they will be visiting in this next cycle of time. And it doesn't seem to be like somebody just showing up. But I almost wonder if this is like a sibling or an aunt or an uncle or maybe a cousin, somebody within the family. But I almost feel like there's a lot of stress around the fact that they really are very dramatic. Like they put on these big shows, not like theater, but like a little argument has to become very boisterous and dramatic and hand movements and crying, and it's all happening in the middle of dinner and there's 40 people there. This kind of energy. And I think that stresses you out a little bit. So I'm wondering if this is actually for some kind of event. I get the feeling that this could be like wedding, something like that, reunion wedding, where there's going to be a lot of people together coming up in this next amount of time. But here's the thing, is that I feel like you also, and there is the crab. So I feel like this is probably somebody who is either like a crab or they are a Cancer. So I'm readjusting in my mind, like what kind of things are they upset about? And I feel like it really is about things like their discomfort. Like this is a person that if they go to a restaurant and they don't like whatever they have, they're not going to kind of be, try to just deal with it. Any little thing that they find or don't like or what, they're going to complain. This is like a person that's going to voice their opinion for sure. And I think, you're probably a lot more laid back, But we also have a Capricorn person, and I feel like this is a masculine energy. It's also an older person, maybe like a grandfather or your father or one of the fathers in the family. But this is kind of the energy, and it looks like they're even kind of running towards this way. The energy is one that comes in and it kind of neutralizes all of the chaos, or at least the angst towards one another, or the little bickering, or the this or that. This is the person that comes in, and even though they are pretty much business, there's a little bit of that silliness in there, and they're really good at being kind of the diplomat, the mediator. Okay, so do not worry. You have your Capricorn person that's going to be coming in and making things kind of all right, smoothing it all over. And I see things actually going so much better than you expected, and I think that's the big deal here. Now, we also have, it looks like, what is the name? It looks like it is, I'm trying to... I don't even think it's a name. It looks like it says Ahoy. A-H-O, you can see the O-Y right here. Ahoy. Now I want a cookie. Thanks a lot, tea leaves. Yeah, ahoy. So maybe, I don't know, are you going on a trip out on the ocean or something? Maybe something to do with water, boating, island life, possibly. I don't know. Or maybe you are like me and you immediately thought of those little cookies, the Chips Ahoy or whatever. But okay, so that's in there. That's in there. And we're going to go over here. We're going to go look at this one. So the name Holly comes through. We also have a hummingbird kind of paired with this person. So somebody who's kind of talks fast, very busy, multitasking, always has things going on. Their life seems vibrant and exciting. But I feel like you maybe come from a family of people who are really concerned with what people think about them. I get this sense that there's a lot of trying to keep up appearances and really just at least appear that everything is fine. Everybody's doing fine. If everybody's doing better than fine, that's great too. But never do we want the world to see that we have problems within the family. And I feel like for you, it's like this isn't even, it doesn't feel realistic. Like why do we live this way? Why can't we just be who we are and say what we feel? And, sometimes if that's wrong, or if it's painful, or if it's, embarrassing or shameful or whatever, who cares, right? Because at least you are who you are. And I feel like you have this relationship, or you had this relationship with a person, and it could be the name Holly. I just keep hearing that. Now, it could be that they went by this name, or there was some kind of, for some reason, Holly, maybe the relationship to I don't know, hollyhocks, or, something akin to this, this word, this name. But I feel like this is somebody who was kind of a little bit of a rebel as well. And I feel like you admired them. And now I will say that I get the impression that they have transcended. They are passed away. But there was such a connection here that I feel like they want you to know that they kind of hang around. They're around. They're around. And they see what's going on with the family. And, you know, and I feel like probably there is this real sense of pride in seeing you maintain your convictions, you know, and we all kind of compromise with the world, don't we? We all sometimes have to be unlike our core self, some more than others, right? And, you know, for people who just are what they are all the time, I know that living like that must not be easy, right? I attempt it myself, and it is not always, you know, it's not always easy, especially if you have learned to mask your whole life, right? To undoing the necessity to mask, or the feeling, the impulse to, and especially if you don't even know that you're masking. I mean, I didn't even find out about any of that kind of stuff until I was like 30 years old, when I was diagnosed with ADHD. And I had no idea. And then learning about, like, you know, autism in females and adult females, it blew my mind. I had no idea. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess all of this makes sense now. But I feel like, yes, there is this, it's like you carry on this torch that is woven into your line, your family line. Now, if that's blood, or if that's chosen, if it's a spiritual family, you know, whatever you perceive to be your family, this is who I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about, like, you know, your bloodline. It could be your bloodline, but don't default to that. It could be that this is like a spiritual community. It could be, you know, a lot of different things. But I do feel that you are one of the, if you think of, how do I say this politely? I don't like talking about the hierarchies of, you know, religious institutes or occult systems or whatever. But if you think about it as like an initiation system, right? There are people who are being considered to even begin, and these are usually like either called profane or probationers. And then you do a certain amount of work and put in time and show that you are really actually devoted to this work, and, you know, that you will show up and all that, and then you become, you know, usually initiated into something like a, what's the word? Not a neophyte. Oh, gosh. Anyways, you get initiated into it and you work your way up there. It depends on the system. Some of them have very vague, you know, degrees. Others very intricate, and there are degrees within degrees, and they don't necessarily elevate you, you know, again, it depends on the system. So if you could imagine, you know, being in the system, and yeah, you are an elevated carrier of this like sacred fire that runs through the psyche of your family. Okay. So if you could think of it like as a tribe, you are maybe one of the, you know, medicine people, priestess, priest, you know, I'm trying to, like it could be, I don't know, like a shaman or somebody who is dedicated to expanding the consciousness of the family and the collective. And doing this kind of work, knowingly or unknowingly, right, isn't always easy. But I feel like for you, all of the triviality of trying to keep up appearances, very low priority, because you are doing something that you really believe in. You're living in a way that feels authentic to you. And so I feel like this really, it does. It influences people within your life, but it also kind of reserves this very special place for you within your connections with these other people, right? So if that makes sense to you, I hope it does, because it is a beautiful role to play within the family. Anyways, I believe so. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to do 3 lucky numbers. Okay, we have number 47, 69, 47, 69, and 16. 16. All right, now we will do our inner child oracle cards, and I'm just going to flip through, stop where it feels right. And it says 29, run wild. Let your inner wild child run forth. Let your inner wild child run forth. Okay, and the last one are indigo sage affirmation cards. I gotta glue these things. I have, my floor is very hard. And whenever I drop the little stones, they break, and I have broken a few of them. So let's see, we're gonna flip through here, stop where it feels right. Ooh, I like that one. Beautiful. It's like a big mushroom, like an oyster mushroom or something. Okay, 22, healing grace. 9, initiations. Let any resistance to joy dissolve. Every breath enfolds you with conscious presence. Every breath enfolds you with conscious presence. Okay, Aries, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, love to hear from you. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any prayer requests, definitely put those in the comments, or you can email me at ulaishere@gmail.com. And I think that's it. All right. I love you. Take care of yourself. We're going to talk real soon in a few days. Good night.